Hey guys, this is Dimitri with Canucks and welcome to another video review. The Fortress lineup from Silverstone has carried significant weight for impressive cooling performance, elegant aluminum designs, and a certain level of functionality that could only be found from Silverstone. Now, this latest addition to the Fortress line is the FT04 that tries to fill those same promises, but priced at $230, it might be a tough sell considering how competitive the enclosure market has become. We recently reviewed the latest Raven, and the FT04 takes an identical internal frame with a few things changed. But as you can see, it takes a very similar form and shape with a side window and a one-piece front door design. Now, Silverstone has done an excellent job in minimizing the footprint of the full tower without compromising on the features. What's changed is the door now aluminum instead of flexible plastic, and it is sandblasted aluminum that looks exceptional without all the fingerprint mess. The FT04 is also foam padded inside the front panel and side vents angled to divert any sound. Both panels are also padded, so there's plenty of emphasis on keeping the FT04 as silent as possible. Although I couldn't help to think of a less ideal material for the side panel window, as just by handling it produces unpleasant noises, so vibrations from inside the machine could potentially resonate into audible vibrations of the panel. Your USB 3 ports and audio jacks are located on the right side along with rather weak magnets that hold the panel in place. I would have preferred some clips instead. Power and reset buttons are on the opposite side with additional venting. There are two 5¼ drive bays with two fan controller knobs for the fans below, so controlling both cooling performance and noise levels, so that's always awesome. And this is the impressive part of this design, the fact that incredible cooling can happen with just these two 180mm air penetrators. These fans are white though, which is a little strange. It doesn't really go with the black design, but they are extremely directional and will provide really effective airflow tunnels. These can also be swapped for a triple 120mm setup for a potential 360 radiator. There's also a fan shroud for the top fan that we are told helps to focus airflow towards your blower style graphics cards. Now, Silverstone is also smart about dust filter design with a really fine mesh that has minimal effect on resistance but really effective against dust particles. At the top where the front panel closes, there's a small gap, but it does continue in the uniform fashion, and that's where the hard drive activity lights are located. Because of the chamber isolation, power supply is installed at the top, sitting on some more foam with a removable dust filter, so thanks for that, followed by an upside down motherboard layout with 8 PCI slots, large venting for airflow to exit, and a 120mm fan mount, so all-in-one water coolers are not totally out of question. Well, that pretty much covers the exterior changes. The FT04 unfortunately still has the same panel design that shows a little bit too much of the inside, especially that sticking out drive cage. It was somewhat acceptable for the Raven, but it doesn't suit the Fortress line, at least that's what I think. Internals are identical to the latest Raven. The only difference would be the added foam on the floor, some up top. The fan is now white with corresponding cables, and one 3.5-inch drive slot is now hot swappable, so that's really good to see. So let's quickly cover the rest of the features. The drive cage is padded internally, it's not toolless, and it will support 5 3.5-inch drives. There are two more slots at the bottom for mechanical drives using this quick release system that's actually very clever. Just pull on the strap to release the drive. There's appropriate cutouts available at the rear for all your cable routing. There's also a CPU cooler support bracket that can be height adjusted for your needs and removed completely if not needed. The FT04 does support SSDs, but it's not a comfortable process to get them installed. You have to first remove the bottom drive cage, and then you get access to two SSD slots that you have to screw in place from the bottom of the case. And even without anything in the system, it was quite cumbersome. Plus add all the routing work that will follow, so yeah. It does support everything that you need, but it's not a user-friendly process. So the rotated motherboard tray is very effective within this case, as it allows the chassis to be smaller since GPUs are installed at the top without compromising on drive storage. The motherboard tray is also removable. That makes a huge difference for assembly outside of the case, but the FT04 still maintains incredible stability with the tray removed. That just demonstrates the excellent build quality of the internal frame. And with everything assembled, Silverstone has done an excellent job for cable management. All the cables are pretty much tucked away, and additional cutouts right underneath the power supply are useful. Connecting all the drives Of course, if things are kept to a minimum, would be hassle-free, but I could see it being more challenging as you start to populate those SSD spots and 3.5-inch drive slots. The case is ready for long graphics cards with 13 inches of clearance, and that's with the shroud in place, and includes a GPU support bracket for those saggy graphics cards, so that's an excellent consideration. And what Silverstone has created here is an airflow masterpiece. And while you can still mount a 360 rad at the front, you'll effectively remove the best thing from the FT04, those two air penetrators. Now, the FT04 is certainly an upgrade in the way the chassis feels, thanks to the aluminum exterior additions. The case is truly impressive for its cooling potential just from the two front fans and everything else that complements this airflow, with great chamber separation and clean cable management. A few functional additions like the removable motherboard tray and the support system for your CPU and GPU are welcome. There's an impressive amount of drive storage potential here in such a compact footprint, with one hot swappable slot, and the added foam is helpful to reduce the noise levels, plus the integrated fan controllers. Just keep in mind they're pretty loud at full power. Now, I still feel they've moved away from giving us an easy case to work in, especially when it comes to SSD mounts. I'm glad we have so much potential for drive storage, I just don't think that's how it should be done. Also, a smaller window would be more ideal to hide the drive cage and all the cables flowing out of it. I still think the best thing about the FT04 is the amazing cooling potential for your system right out of the box, and it's really up to you whether you value that and a somewhat clunky SSD mount for the $230 price tag. Now, Silverstone has managed to cram a lot of features into the FT04, and we're giving it the damn innovative award, as there's really nothing like it. But what do you guys think of this latest Fortress? Does it stand a chance within our current enclosure market that's becoming extremely saturated? I certainly think so, but I do prefer more flexibility when it comes to user-friendly designs. Well, that is it for the FT04. Make sure to subscribe for similar content, and we'll see you in the next one.